Alright, so hello and welcome back. So in this video today we're gonna actually working on our first project. But as you know, that the project we are working on, well, actually every project we're going to working on in JavaScript is going to make us interactive. And we're gonna have to handle users' interaction besides just using a prompt box. So today we're going to learn two more things, actually a lot. So you're gonna learn how to create a fab icon, how to use some Bootstrap, how to handle user interaction by text boxes, and how to add Eventlistener. So there's a lot of things to do, and today gonna be relatively long video, and so hopefully you enjoy it. So first thing first, I create a new directory in the JS tutorial, and the first project we're going to do is called word length calculator. Let me make a new file. So what this going to do is quite obvious. Really obvious what this is gonna do. So basically you're gonna accept an input. So what you will basically do is after this you're gonna see some nicely styled web page with a text box and a button, and once you click that button you should see how many characters you typed and how many words you typed. And so this is just gonna be some easy stuff. Alright, let's get started. So, before we begin, we recall a few things that we set up Bootstrap, which is a library, and we're gonna actually use our Bootstrap now. So recall we're gonna use a title to title this. I'm just gonna title this word length calculator. And here's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna say link rel icon href /user / my name actual name / desktop / dev with me /js tutorial / projects / wait, let me see. Okay. Just gonna link it right here. Oh shoot. Never mind. Okay. And yeah. So what this does? Well, I'm just gonna go to my Chrome, and here's what we will see. There are many tabs opening right now. I'm just gonna close off it. So let's take a look. This is called a file icon, and we don't have it. This is called like the sort of like logo things, like a logo that's gonna configure in your head tag, and that we will do. All right. So we can watch our full version right now. So let me save it really quick, and let me copy the full path. And I'm just gonna Command V to copy it. And there's some problem. It should show up. for that. Save it. Run it. Okay, it's not working for some reason. It's not working for some reason. Let me go to a different URL. Okay, this is working. I'm gonna figure out why this is not working. Maybe I got wrong address. This is my just like icon address. Alright, so I'm just gonna copy and paste. I'm gonna using this right now, but when you see the GitHub code, it's gonna update it. Alright, so now I'm gonna link some bootstrapped. So I'm gonna say go get bootstrap.com, and I'm just gonna go to CDN with CSS only and paste this right here. Alright. Yep. So now we configured all our head text stuff. So now you know how to link icon, file via icon. Now you know how to do that. And yeah, let's go start with some real stuff. So first thing we need to do, I'm gonna view it. So first thing we need to do is I'm gonna type word length calculator, and that's why we use head tag. We use a bootstrap because if we don't have bootstrap, it's something like this, like that, which is comparatively well. At least I like this version more. That way people adapt bootstrapped. And we're just gonna use a form element. And inside form, I'm just gonna say label, type words here, and I'm gonna create a input type equal to text, ID equal to text, class equal to form control. Yep. And yeah, input self-closing tag, so you don't have to close it. So let me go over the three things we're putting in here. So type, it just specifies the type of this. You can change it to email if you want, but now it's not going to do anything yet because it's not validating your information. Just specify what the type this input box want. And the ID number, I mean ID, which is going to be useful, not in CSS's case, but we're going to use this in JavaScript. And class equal form control, this is for bootstrap thing. And I'm going to create a BR tag, line break. And here's what I'm going to type. I'm just going to type button type equal to submit. And I'm going to say ID equal to button. Class equal to button primary. So when you have this, it just essentially means apply two classes to it. So you're going to apply button and also button primary. So it's have two classes. And yes, you cannot use class. You cannot use space in your class name. I'm just gonna say click to see. Sorry for the if you heard my phone. I think I muted. It's not working really. So click to see the results. Alright. So that's all with form. Alright, now we're gonna learn some create a div first. Let's create a div. I'm just gonna name it result. I'm gonna use this div. Now you can see nothing's in div yet, but it's gonna be really useful. So now we're gonna learn some HTML5 content. Alright, so this is not fully finished yet. This a project. So we're gonna create a summary. Oh, sorry. I mean details. This is new tag that's supported by HTML5. And just gonna say summary. And I'm gonna say click to see details. Alright. So click to see details. And if you click it, you can see now it's a clickable link. Alright, so nothing show up, but you can see when my sensor come to here, it changed to clickable content, just like a button. But when I move, it changed. And later on, we're gonna learn. There's will be three most commonly, actually two. One is like this, and one is touchable, like link clickable, and one is like input tag, like this. As I said, click to see details. So this tag, details and summary tag, is supported by HTML5. However, not supported by Internet Explorer nor Microsoft Edge. And so later on, we're going to learn how to actually use JavaScript to program click to see detail link, or just click to see more, if you want to say that. And click to see detail. And I'm going to create I'm just gonna BR, and I'm gonna say create another div. Just gonna say ID equal to detail. There is not so much detail thing yet. We're gonna advance a little bit more in next video. Alright, so this is our first 21 lines code, right? So exciting. We're halfway done. Alright, just by number of codes. So since we're dealing with we're not dealing with a big project, I'm just gonna use JavaScript in script tag here. So here's where things come interesting, because now we are gonna use some pseudocode. Alright, what is pseudocode? Well, pseudocode is a code where computer can understand it. Computer can't understand it, but just for you to actually make sure what does the process look like. Alright, so let's take a look on this. So what do we want to do? Well, first, step one, so step one, I just want to say get the button element, because that's how we can interact with this. So interact with button to get. So we need to get the button, and then we can create a function that based on this, so that after click it, gonna see some result. Not like immediately type it, gonna not live updating in this case, but just regular. And get the button element, and I'm gonna say create function, let's calculate words length, and word count. And step 3, we're gonna say create. Gonna say call the function when the button clicked. Alright, so that's our 3 points, and so let's do it one by one. First, get the button element. so we know when we call this so JavaScript gonna know, okay, so it's gonna call this element when this button is clicked. So can we do that? We're gonna do this. I'm just gonna say var button. After I can use a constant, I'm just gonna use a constant. Constant equal to document.get element by ID. And I'm gonna say button. That's what create ID for our button. Oh, sorry. Constant button. Yeah, about that. Constant button equal to document.get element by ID button. Good. So we finish our first step. We get the button element. We use get element by ID, which is I forget did I talk about this, but this basically get the element, which I mean it's just basically store button, store this thing, the button, where you could just imagine store this code instead of button element, but make you do more complicated stuff, is it? Alright, so we create a const. Alright, now we're gonna do this. We're gonna say when button is clicked. So var on button click equal to function blah blah blah, and I'm gonna call this function. Alright, so call this function. Here is when this is interesting. We're gonna learn a totally new way. It's called add Eventlistener. So before I learn jQuery, which is JavaScript like library or framework, we're going to just use a regular DOM modification, and add Eventlistener just basically tell you, okay, if this button clicked, do something. Alright, just like a condition, but you don't have to code that condition on your own. So we can just call this button, which is the element we want to use this on, which is a button. I'm just gonna say add event listener and parenthesis inside I'm gonna say click, and I'm gonna say call this function on button click. So this taking basically one on the outside using dot notation. We're just calling the element that you are using at event listener on, and the status of this, like what happened to this element you want to call the function, and what function do you want to call, which is the on button click function. Alright, so everything's set up, and if you take a look here, I'm gonna assume some error happening, and at the home page I'm gonna click this again. Interesting. What happened? Well, it turns out internet is not a security place. Hopefully you know that. Because if you don't know, then, well, you may not have strong password. Alright, anyway. So, what this do is due to security reason, it's going to automatically send a form to a server. And it's going to expect it have a HTTP GET response from the server, then display the web page. It's complicated, but here's how this works. Alright, basically, you click a button. When you like sign up for a Gmail account, it's gonna like take you to a brand new page, right? But for this, what we want to do is not like that. We just want to process. We don't have a server, which is we don't have a PHP yet, which we're gonna learn it later in later tutorials. And here's what we're going to do if we want to prevent the default action. This is default action when it's dealing with a form. So I can just type event. Recall this is called argument with parameter inside of function, and I call this. I can call this variable called event.prevent default. Alright. Now if I click it, now it's prevent default, which is mean now this say now gonna send to server again, so it should be say HTML say, hey, it's an event.prevent default. Let's just don't do our thing anymore. And say, like, to say, okay, take your own responsibility. Like, yeah, usually it's more secure to send to a server, but for our later project, you don't have to. Alright. So we finished the... So let's now... We need code some function inside of this now. So we're gonna say step 2-1. I'm just gonna say... where create a variable get the place where the info will be displayed. Step. I'm gonna explain what those mean in just a little bit. Step 2 is store word count. Steps, because this is not length and it's also like word count 2-3. Say using a loop to update word count based on certain conditions. Step 2-4, we're gonna validate user's input. And step 2-5, just gonna say write the length of the word and step 2-6 write the word count of the words. Alright. So that's our 6th step. It may look complicated, but I'm just gonna explain it. So first, we want to know where do we want to display our information, right? And I'm gonna store that in a variable. Actually, we don't have to do this step. We can do that with this. So first, we're gonna store a variable called word count, and we are gonna use a loop to update word count based on certain conditions. Then we're gonna validate user's input to make sure you provide us correct information. Then I'm gonna write the length of the word and write the how many words the user typed, which is word count in this case. So let's do it one by one. Store words count. Well, because we know we're gonna update word. I'm just gonna use a variable keyword. I'm just gonna name a word count. What it is supposed to equal to. Well, if user type anything, it is a word. So, no matter what, once the user types something, it's going to be at least it's have one word. Right now, I don't have any words, but once I start typing, like this, or just a random word, hello, or hello world, now you will see that I at least have one word. So where word count is not usually 0 now, but is 1. Start with 1. And here is how we're going to do next thing. I'm also gonna store the length of the word. So for example, words, I'm just gonna say word length equal to actually step I'm sorry. This is the first time I have to do a project recording. No, we actually need to get the value of user's input. This is important. So we can process with it. Alright. So that's our 6 steps. So how can we get user's input? Well, we do need to use document.getElementById a little bit. So I'm just gonna say var text equal to document.getElementById, and the ID we use is text, I think. And I'm just gonna say console.log text. Alright. So I expect that I see something the user typed. Alright, let's take a look. So I can see the form now, which is good. Click to see the result. Command Option J. Okay, what did you actually see? You actually see the actual element, right? So that's not what we want to do. We want to see the value that user input. In this case, is welcome. I want to see welcome. So how can we do that? Well, quite literally, you can use a dot notation. Again, dot value. So this way, what this get is say, alright, go to the document object, in this case, then use the getElementById object, which we're gonna learn in the next few videos, and then get the value of it. Instead, just print out the elements. So I can say save, and if I refresh it, type welcome. Hopefully, I see welcome now. And I just say, hello world, welcome to my first project. And indeed, you saw that also. So good. Now I can delete this debugging line. Remember, console.log is always your friend when you do debugging with JavaScript. So now I get a value of user's input. And we store word count. Now I'm going to use a loop to update word count based on certain conditions. So how can we do that? Well, think about how many loops we learned. We have a few options. We can use for loop. We can use while loop. We can use do while loop. We're usually gonna do these means 3. And in this case, quite obviously, we're gonna use a for loop. So I'm gonna use a let keyword to declare it, because I'm not gonna actually change it. I'm just gonna say var let word I'm just gonna say let I equal to 0, I smaller. That's not a great way to name your variables though. Text.length I++. And did you see something that is a little bit familiar to you? And if hopefully you see this line, I recall that .length is just a method that we used when dealing with array. And odds are that you want to use it in array, in just regular string in this case. And indeed, you can do that also using string. So you just basically type string.length is gonna return the length of the given string. Text in this case, I'm just gonna use const. As a value of text, so it's gonna return your length. And that's where I want to stop it, right? So the character finish typed these certain lengths, this certain text. And how to update the word count? Well, step 2-3-1. So we need to find pattern of the numbers of words step 2.3-2 hint. I'm gonna give a hint. This and condition. You can also think about it. Step 2.3-2, I'm gonna say update word count. Word count, right? Alright. So here's please you can pause this video so you can find a pattern number of word between your space and how can you use it with condition. Well, let's start with something feel obvious. Alright, I suggest you can make a table of value. So how many space do I have? 0. And how many words do I have? 1. That's why I start with word count as 1. And if I have 1 space, I got 2 words. And it has 3 spaces. If I have 2 spaces, it has 3 words. And 3 space 4 words. And 4 space 5 words. Okay. Now I'm usually gonna think that's the user does not type 2 consecutive space. And the pattern is this. I can just use it if and text dash I. Recall that's how you use it to find the I's term. And I'm just gonna say if it's equal to a space and I'm gonna update word count, which is this is really easy, plus plus. Which is recall the short notation for plus equal to 1, which is change it by 1 once you see every space. And now I'm gonna assume that the user does not type any wasting spaces, sort like. It's just regular words or a sentence. Actually, I think it should be called sentence length calculator. Alright, now you can see we already finished 3 steps. Now we're gonna do validate user's input. So I can validate that. Well, I think if going to be much helpful. So just say text equal to empty string. So what do you get if you don't have anything? I'm just gonna say this and else. Gonna put these 2 lines of code. Right here. Indent this a little bit. Alright. So what if I got empty string? I just have empty, right? I just have a empty. It still comes to the logging because I didn't save it. But now you can see it still have empty. It's just still a string, but empty string. So if text equal to empty string, I want to do this. To use document.get element by ID and gonna say result the inner HTML equal to did you fill out text box correctly? Just gonna ask in this statement. And what do we do? So now you can see that inner HTML is just basically another way to say write, but now we write it in Java. That's how we modify the div element. And indeed, from the word phrasing, it turns out that you can actually add HTML tag in it. For example, if I do this, I'm gonna print out H1. So let me save it and refresh it. And if I type the word here, if I type nothing, assignment to constant variable. Whoops. Yeah, wait. Which line the error says line 39. So I think we should use a var because I think we're modifying this. So var gonna work. And yeah, I think we might modifying it. Oh, I find why. We should use triple equal sign because I reassign it then. If I use triple equal sign, then this should be fine. If I save it. Yeah, now we don't have errors. And if I click to see result, and you can see it's an H1 tag. It's same font as this. And it said, did you fill out your text box correctly? But, well, I just want to use italic for this. Alright. Now step 5. I'm going to write the length of the words. So how can I do that? Well, similarly, I could just say document.getElementById. That's true. I'm just going to say result dot inner HTML equal to, I just say the length of your word / sentence is, I'm gonna plus text.length, and for word, I'm just gonna say document.getElementById. Just gonna say detail dot inner HTML equal to there are plus word count plus words. Alright. And if we take a look, and yeah, I think we're probably done. Why don't we just save it? And hopefully I get no errors. Unexpected token. What's an expect token? Oh, sorry. This. I put period at the end. So semicolon. And now the error is gone. So let's test our thing. If I don't have any input, I see italicized text say, did you fill out your text box correctly? And I can also say hello world. And the length of your words / sentence is undefined. Okay, that is unexpected. So if we go back. Oh, sorry. I should not capitalize that. I don't know why I capitalized that. I should not capitalize that. Okay, did you fill out your text box correctly? If I just say hello. Length is 5. There are 1 word. Hello world. There are 2 words and the length is 11, which is counting space. Now, there are also some problems. For example, if I just have 1 word, it should just say 1 word, should not say words. And I want to see more detail like the punctuation. Like the punctuation, how many punctuation character, how many letter, alphabetical letter, how many numbers, something like that. Gonna be more detailed. And yeah. So I think that's going to be our full project. Just a simple project for calculate your lengths and the character of your words. And we learned some basic user interaction in this project. We're gonna advance it a little bit more when we're dealing with this project again. So thank you for watching this video.